Hey everyone, I just want to do something a little different this time. So, this week I'm going to be talking about an issue that is very important to me. And if any of you read the About Me section of my YouTube page, you'd know that I'm autistic. Well, I have Asperger Syndrome, but that's basically considered autistic. But so I'm actually going to talk about autism since uh, and how it affects my life. So, so autism is a disability that's usually recognized during early childhood, and it's characterized by different difficulties like in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communications, and repetitive behaviors. So, and some of those issues include like Down Street autism, Rett syndrome, childhood distinctive disorder. I don't know how to pronounce it, just go with it. Pervasive developmental disorder, and Asperger Syndrome, which is what I have. So, some of the cons of autism are social isolation. Now, this is a big issue for me since I don't really talk to anybody at school unless it's after school during theater. Then that's when I'm at my most outgoing or whatever. I also have some odd mannerisms, like I do lots of hand gestures, like I would sort of do this a lot when I talk, or I would usually talk too loud. And as far as walking to people, I could violate personal space since I usually walk faster than a typical person. And and some people that have autism would act like quote unquote little adults. Like I do some as far as family goes, like I mostly boss my brothers around. That's probably the farthest I've ever gone for that. Okay. So the next is inability to be a teen. Now this is not really that big of an issue as I mean, I usually like some of the latest fads like clothes, music, etc. And I do have a Facebook and Twitter and yada yada yada. But yet there are still things that are an issue to me. Like I've never had a serious relationship. I do like some music that most people really don't know about. And I'm also really obsessed with all things nostalgia. Like by that I mean stuff from the 20s up to the 90s. And most people with autism would usually neglect hygiene. Like for me, I usually tend to forget to take my vitamins in the morning. Well, I didn't today, but still. Okay. Sexual issues. Now, this also really isn't a big issue for me. Like, usually when a boy flirts with someone that has autism, they would usually consider that harassment or date rape. And yet, I really don't consider that harassment at all. I mean, the closest thing to sexual issues I have is that I know very little about sex. Like, I didn't know man and woman are in bed naked. I'm not going to talk about it here. It's just okay. Next is criminal activity, which is not really an issue for me because I'm only 16. I didn't even get my permit yet, so. School failures. Now, this is also a big issue for me. Like, even though in elementary school, grade wise was just a breeze, I never gotten a single C in elementary school. I started having trouble in school, in middle school and high school, we since I had to balance more homework and more teachers and different environments in the classroom. I also tend to get distracted, at times. Okay, so our last con is depression and acting out. Now, this I think is the biggest issue for me. Like, I usually get emotionally overwhelmed very easily, and if you know me personally, you'd know that. And for me, temper tantrums have started reappearing, and I've started to get massive meltdowns if things don't go my way. And and most teens with autism like have suicidal thoughts, which I never really had. Wait a minute. I wait. I think I did have a thought of committing suicide. Probably once in like 8th grade. I thought to myself, like, what's the point of living? I have no purpose in this life. But I've noticed, like, around that summer I was wrong. Like, that whole time I was wrong. Because there are pros of having autism. Like every teen with autism is gifted in one thing or another. Um, and for me, I am mostly gifted musically. You see all my music right over there? And I'm also gifted theatrically. Like, I have a bunch of playbills from a bunch of shows that I've been in, like The Crucible, my most recent one, Fame, Black Box Theater, and I have a bunch of others which I probably aren't going to show you right now. So, just in conclusion, I just want to say, I'm not really alone in this. Like, there are a lot of people I know that have autism, and I think autism takes up about like 70% of the whole YouTube population. I'm not the only one on YouTube with autism. Like, I could name a few users right now, like Nicole337, which I'm sure every one of you has known. Wiley K209's back, who has Asperger Syndrome like me. Alex the Alex7, Vince Spin Films, PL Studios. Those last two I actually know personally. Now, so, I think that's mostly about it. I don't really have that much left to say, but, so